employ into working. What I would like to find out is that as the economy it is at this point in time, don't we have certain sectors of our economy working within that 24-hour cycle? I can easily cite the case. What makes this particular 24-hour economy so special? And how can it also reset the economy as you are talking about? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The concept and policy direction of it is to give vent to businesses, to make it not just a choice by the worker, but a policy decision by the state, to ensure that in doing so, businesses can be supported. Those businesses that were not in 24 hours can now be supported to join the race. It's no longer going to be as and when I like it, but just when I like it and backed by government policy. So it is true that several organizations are already working 24 hours, and that's giving credence to the fact that we can get others to join them. You know, one of the challenges that other businesses are facing working 24 hours is how much they can ensure security, and we say we will provide the security. Is how much they can ensure enough capacity. We said we will support them with the capacity, you know, and etc. etc. How much do we have enough money to pay for electricity? We said we will support it to do so. It's simply just to boost production, create more opportunity for our people to work, and to ensure that we reshape the economy in a manner that is going to be work-based and production-based. Thank you.
If we establish it as a policy, is it going to have a compulsory adherence? Because I believe the 24-hour, the need to work for 24 hours is always backed by demand and supply. If there's no demand for a particular service or goods, how do you develop a policy to drive this particular initiative? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I agree with you. You know, largely will be driven by the need for it, and we believe that several organizations have the need for it. Will want to have the 24-hour economy, you know, operate within their working space, except that they don't have the ability, the capacity, the support, direction from government. So we are targeting those organizations that will be willing to go the extra length in increasing production by increasing employment, you know, engaging our young people and creating a situation where they can effectively be engaged. But this is largely for those who need it. And for government organizations, it will be backed by policy direction, meaning that there will be a certain compelling factor for some state public organizations to operate within that 24 hours. But for private people, it's a choice you can make. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll proceed to give the floor to Honorable Asante Boati. Or you still have a substantive question? Please do.
Thank you, Chair. Minister-Designate, women express their concerns on the need to increase maternity leave. What are your intentions when giving the nod in respect of this subject matter? Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
This is a very, very important area, and I think it deserves further discussions, but I support it as a person. I support the affirmative action law, which we just passed. I work very hard to contribute to it. So it's an area.
Any further question? Please. Your last question, if this is not a follow-up.
Thank you, Chair. Minister-Designate, what plans do you have to make the National Service Scheme more attractive in terms of the allowances and job content? Thank you, Chair.
I wish the National Service Scheme was under my direct care, but it's not. But I have an overall task of ensuring that the Ghanaian worker is properly engaged, and by the dictate of the Constitution, Article 24(1), it tells that we should ensure the safety, health, and fair conditions for every worker. So I think that it is on that grounds I will support any direction that help, increase the allowance of Ghanaian civil, national service workers.
Thank you, Chair. I'm done.
Thank you. A follow-up on the national service.
Yes.
But let me place this on record that it is now National Service Authority. We have passed the law. The floor to Honorable Kwaku Asante Boateng.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Congratulations, my brother, for your nomination. And I want to put this on record that there is one appointment that I personally am happy and comfortable with, because all you gathered here, most of us here, about 70% may not be able to handle that ministry. Handling Ministry of Employment and Relations require some specific personality. But you look at the composure of my brother, Honorable Pepuo, his comportment ever since I've known him in this house. It takes somebody like him to handle labor matters. Like previously in the MPP government, we saw that of Honorable Ignatius Pepuo. And I must say that if you don't have that comportment and temperament and character, you will not be able to handle that ministry. So I believe the president was very careful, and he said, I must say that he's selecting you to the labor ministry. And looking at your background, I have the belief that you have all that it takes to handle the ministry. But my first question, Honorable Chair, if you look at Section 13 of the Civil Service Act 1993, the ministry that you're going to handle, you're supposed to initiate, if I have the indulgence of the chairman, I want to read a good from the session.
Go ahead.
Initiate and formulate policies taking into account the needs and aspirations of the people as A, 13A, B, undertake development planning in consultation with the National Development Planning Commission, and C, which is critical, coordinate, monitor, and evaluate the efficiency and effectiveness of the performance of the sector. All of us know that working force in government sector, we have about 688 employees. But we also realize that there's low productivity. But if you go further, one of your key or critical issues as a function is to ensure fair and equitable wages and salary for employees of all sectors in the economy. In the light of low productivity, even some are advocating that we may have to reduce.
Honorable Asante Boating, your question, please.
How do you, in the context of low productivity of the public sector, try and ensure that there's fair and equitable wages for the sector? Looking at the low productivity of the sector at well, how do you superimpose the two?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm sure you are talking about fair payment for work done. Yeah, and the need to reconcile the fact that you are producing, you may not be producing hard enough to earn what you are doing, and how do we reconcile it? I think it's a major area we will tackle, and I'll be very happy to be, I'm happy I'm going to do it if you do approve my nomination, because it's a big question for all Ghanaians. You have quoted the number to less than 700 of public service workers. In the last visit to the ministry, they told me it's about 800. And given the 800 and given the output and the expenditure on production, for we make in paying our workers, then you begin to wonder whether we should do something about it. I know that the Ghanaian worker is very conscientious, very hardworking, very committed, but we need a kind of policy direction to help him to produce more, so we can pay and know that we are paying something worth the while. So thank you. It's an area, very, very important area, and I thank you for this question. We would be committing ourselves to working at it.
Thank you very much. You are entitled to. Yes, please.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. In the light of the answer that you just gave, people normally see Ghanaian workers as magicians in terms of what we earn every month. Meanwhile, when you look at the production aspect of it, it doesn't match. In your own way, how do you think we'll be able to make the Ghanaian worker happy and work to the optimum?
Thank you very much, Honorable Nominee.
I have very full confidence in the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission as an organization that can help harmonize the policy and ensure that we get the best out of what we put in our workforce. I will definitely work with them to see how we can do it, because it is a complex issue. You are dealing with huge numbers of people. You are dealing with huge numbers of organizations. You want to create a situation where for each single person working, there is an output worth the while, worth the input. So it deserves a lot more things than just a direct answer I will give you. But I can assure you that it is something that I'm going to work very hard with the Commission to see how we can deal with it. Because it's also a constitutional issue. Thank you.
Any further questions?
Honorable Chair, how many follow-up questions can I have?
You have entitled to one follow-up question.
Okay.
Then please move to your second substantive.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Let me move to my second question. Honorable Nominee, when you look at your total number of 547 employees. The Ministry, Labor Department, Department of Cooperatives, National Pension Regulatory Authority, and all others. Of this, we realize that the male staffers constitute 65%, and that of female is 35%. But you look at the workforce by our population census 2021, we realize that we have a population or a workforce of 14.3 million or 14 thereabouts. It's out of this that we have the public sector engaging 668,000, which works out to about 4.65%. The remaining is for the private sector. And you realize that the private sector constitutes the huge chunk of our labor force. What are you bringing on board as a minister, if you are approved, if you are given the nod, to ensure that the private sector is able to absorb more and more of Ghanaians into their fold?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In Ghana, we are developing a system of recording all vacancies available in all organizations, public and private sector, in the form of the labor market information system, which we will cover everybody, to cover every sector in Ghana, in the public sector. What I will do is to encourage the private sector vigorously, to encourage the private sector to be part of it, to be part of the overall harmonizing effect of recording in a big data all working institutions, all institutions, and creating all the vacancies that are available in the institution, publishing those vacancies in the information system, and allowing advertising for people who are looking for jobs to be able to look in and be able to apply for those jobs. Now, once that system is in place, you will be having direct contact with the private sector. You will find which areas in the private sector are where are available for jobs for the people of Ghana, and you will work to encourage those areas. And indeed, what I want to encourage my government to do is to ensure that we embark on a system of providing support for private sector inputs into the economy, creating opportunities for people to get credits and investing in those credits, and therefore creating opportunities for people to get jobs. And then, in a snowball effect, also creating the wealth of the country through taxes into the consolidated fund. So actually the private sector is not differentiated from our economy. It's a very key concept, part of our economy. And so encouraging them to do it.
I remember, be brief in your answer. Kindly be brief in your answer.
So we will encourage them to produce as much as they can, and we will support them. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Follow-up question on that. Thank you, Chair. As a follow-up question to that, I gave you the numbers with regards to employees within your outfits, which is a total of 5,647. And the indications are 65, 35 in proportion, male, female. But when you look at the population census, we are almost the 2021 census indicate that female are 15.6 million and males 15.2, almost 50-50. How do you ensure that you create that balance between male and female employees within your outfit and all over Ghana? I believe the women here are listening to you and your wife.
Honorable member, I will allow that question, but treat it as a substantive question. The gender balance.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, this is something we have taken care of in our manifesto, and we call it leveling up, creating a balance between female, male, youth, adult, creating an avenue for all of them to be involved, and creating equity in job creation and in employment avenues. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I'll proceed to give the floor to Honorable Yusuf Suleimana.
Chairman, I'm very grateful. Honorable Dr. Alhaji Rashid Pepuo, congratulations.
Thank you.
Doctor, you are a role model. And for some of us today, we should eulogize you. Your humility, your honesty, but your competence is not in doubt. And so I'm not surprised that the President selected you for this strategic ministry. You've been a counselor for some of us, an inspiration for many, many northern young politicians. We can only wish you well. Inshallah, the good Lord will guide you as you move every step. We leave you in the hands of God. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Chairman,
very much.
Thank you.
Salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much. No.
We didn't understand you.
Honorable members, I recognize another subject matter committee member in the person of Honorable Frank Afriye. You have the floor.
Chairman, I'm so grateful, and with your leave, let me congratulate and wish my brother all the best. Indeed, you are proceeding, and by the grace of God, we shall be heading a ministry that is largely seen as contentious. A lot of labor agitations, salary issues. Meanwhile, I fully associate with the earlier speakers on the observation that you are indeed a role model for those of us who are more inclined to toe the path of diplomacy than to be gentle and soft-spoken like yourself. However, the average Ghanaian out there, how would they be convinced that you have what it takes to balance the two, leading a ministry that will be hot